Welcome
to New Entry Wrestling Podcast, baby. Welcome back to New Entry Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Sexy Ian, with my co-host, Ever. What it do, baby? Yo, what's good, Jose?
What's going on?
Hey, thanks for being back on the show, man. So
absolutely, thanks for having me back. It's great to be back.
And don't worry, your check won't bounce this time. So, anyways, no man.
Checks.
What was that?
Say no poly checks. Poly ECW.
Poly checks. No, you will possibly. Depends whose name is under. Right. Anyways, thanks for being on the show. And today's topic is gonna be Money in the Bank.
So, ching, baby.
Money in the Bank, July 2nd, this Sunday or Saturday? Saturday, right?
Saturday. I believe it's gonna be a Saturday show.
Ever's going. So jealous. He has money for that. But all right. Oh, but when I asked him, hey, man, can you give me a hot dog from Costco? Oh, no, man, I can't do that. I'm vegan. I think he's vegetarian, but I'm like, okay, whatever.
Right, same.
Anyways, man, you excited for Money in the Bank this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's got a decent amount of matches on there that's going to look like it can make it for a promising show. I mean, we've seen it before where we've had them put matches together that on paper just don't look impressive, but then once showtime comes, you know, they exceed what was the expectation.
Yeah, that's true. But how do you feel about how it went from a stadium to back to an arena?
That's a big kick in the ass for them, because that was something that they were kind of banking on to lean more to go in that direction from here on out, making more stadium shows to kind of give themselves a bigger feel, right? Which, from what I've seen and have heard others describe it, I mean, it's financially feasible to do something like that because you can configure a stadium and to X amount of seats. I mean, when you do a sellout, you don't really have to do the entire building, and you can get more people in those buildings than you can like at Allstate or United Center, Barclays, right, or any of those where you're kind of limited to anywhere from 13,000 to maybe 19,000 people, depending on the size of that arena, to a stadium where you can configure that to 20,000 or 25,000 and make that the sellout.
It's weird because, like what you just said, maybe I took it the wrong way or whatever, but just because they're performing in a stadium, it doesn't mean you have to use the whole seats. You could just use a half of section where it's like, hey, the stadium draws 50,000 people, but we just need 25. So it's like, I don't understand why they needed to. First of all, I don't know why they thought Money in the Bank was a good choice. Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, obviously WrestleMania, yes. Money in the Bank, the fact that you have two ladder matches, it's like that alone, I could understand why. But the thing is, it's not the match, it's the people who are in the match.
Right.
Which draws, the attention of that match. It'd be like, oh, wow, this is going to be a great ladder match. But when you have 6 mid cards and 2 main eventers, it's like, okay, well, clearly one of the main eventers are going to win. But when you have like 6 to 8 all-star wrestlers, it's like, ooh, who's going to win? Exactly. That's where it's like, that's how you draw big matches like that. With the Royal Rumble, it's the same thing where it's like, who's gonna win? Yeah, you're gonna have like 20 mid cards, but at least there has been moments like Sheamus, he was a mid card at the time and he won the Royal Rumble and went on to become a main event player. Kind of in a way.
Yeah,
but
I mean, in that upper level right
he's
there.
He's a little bit higher on the card now. Yeah. But Sheamus did become like a main eventer guy. He could be everywhere in the card now. Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't understand why they had to do it was a football stadium, right?
Yeah, I think it was what is it called, where the Titans play.
Yeah, I don't understand why they wouldn't do what's it called, baseball stadiums. Isn't that half of that? of a football stadium?
It depends on how the infield is configured, I guess, because I mean they've done it before. Where they did the Rumble here in Houston at the Astros Stadium, and they configured it to where the entrance was over where the dugout was at, and they were able to come out through the dugout up to the main entrance. So it just really depends on how they can do the configuration for it. Because I was going to say, I mean, given I went to WrestleMania this year, and I can easily say AT&T Stadium holds about 100,000 people, but there was not 100,000 people in that building. I could see from where I was sitting at which sections were blocked off because either A, they needed it for the stage setup, or B, they just, said, okay, we're not going to get enough to cover up for these sections. So, we're not even going to bother. And still we're able to call that a sellout, quotation marks, and say we hit 70, I think was like the number they gave, like 78,000 or something like that was the number they gave.
Right.
Which, it would really was probably about a good 70,000.
And see, and speaking about that, where people will see that, because it's like what you just said, they're able to have 100,000 people there, but they only sold 80,000 tickets, and they'll sell out those 80,000 tickets, and then people will be like, oh, there's some empty seats, so I guess they didn't sell 100,000. Where it's like, did they say they sold 100,000 tickets? No, they didn't. How do you even know this report of how much tickets were even available? Because I can never find that report. How many tickets were sold and stuff like that. It's just that's how much they sold. And if they sold only 80,000 tickets were available, and they only sold 80,000, then okay, they sold out. That's what they mean by, not because they only 80,000 tickets were available, but you still have 20,000 seats available, but they weren't even available in the first place. That it's like, it's weird when people are just talking about that, and how people are like, how people will go to shows and they're like, oh, there's some empty seats here. Oh wow, WWE really sucks. And it's like, who cares? You're there, aren't you?
Exactly. And even I'll even use Friday as an example, because I went to SmackDown, and it was at the new arena that we just got built here in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, it's a smaller arena than the one that is replacing the Frank Irwin Center, but I could still see that they probably called it on to be either some kind of sellout or max capacity crowd. But I could still see, because I was on the opposite side of the hard cam, I could see where that section, how much of it was actually filled with people and how much of it was actually just tarped off, because again, they needed to have the equipment there to record from that side over. Yeah, and you can see small things like that on there.
Yeah, and that's how I was with Impact Wrestling too, because Impact Wrestling, it looked like there wasn't a lot of people there when they used to be in the Impact Zone.
Right.
And it was like, and then obviously once I went to their show, I see it's like, oh, they only use one half, and then the other half of where they have the television, the equipment stuff,
right,
they probably use 3 or 4 rows there, but usually that row is usually for the wrestlers, family, friends, and stuff like that, or people who have the access pass will sit there. And then the other side in the hard cam, that's where people who actually paid to come watch Impact, that's where they will sit. So it's like, and which makes it look like there's a lot of people there, but reality, I mean, there's still a few hundred people, but it just looks like a sold out place because of how their layout is. And but yeah, anyway, going back to Money in the Bank, yeah, so it went. Do you think it should have been in the stadium in the first place? And then because they promoted it a year. They promoted it last year's Money in the Bank, right?
Right.
Saying that they were going to be in the stadium. So my thing is, when did they start selling tickets for it?
That's hard to say. I'm not sure when the tickets went out on sale. But I mean, that was really ambitious of them, because they were trying to do 3 stadium shows in a row, because you would have Money in the Bank, then SummerSlam, and then the UK show.
Well, the UK was announced later this year.
Right. But they're running
but SummerSlam was and Money in the Bank was announced last year.
Right.
So They had a whole year to sell out the show. So my thing is, it's either they sold the tickets too late, or they should have done what they did with SummerSlam. They already announced Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, last man standing at SummerSlam. They already announced Pat McAfee versus Happy Corbin. So it's like they already announced two good matches for SummerSlam, and they're probably doing that to draw tickets already. And it's like I feel like they should have announced the matches, at least announced some type of match. But I guess they thought, in their point of view, that the fact that we were going to get two guaranteed Money in the Bank ladder matches, they thought that was enough.
Right.
They should have been like, because they should have had rumors of, even though people are tired of Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns and stuff, but I feel like that should have been the match for Money in the Bank to help sell tickets.
Right. Give it a big, if it's going to be in a big stadium, give it a big money match feel to it.
Right.
And I think that's one thing that they've been probably trying to do with Money in the Bank is make it seem a bigger show than it is. Because really, it's an arena show. Then that just needs to be in an arena. It's not really a show that, you know, you're going to go to a stadium. Like if they were holding in Chicago and say, we're going to do Money in the Bank at Soldier Field.
Right.
You're like, am I going to really go to that at Soldier Field, or would I go to the Allstate Arena and watch it over there instead?
Right.
You know, it's a big difference from going from one to the other for that kind of a show. And granted, they've been doing them more with like at least the big shows, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam. If they could get Survivor Series right, they could make it a big 4 show again.
I forgot about Survivor Series.
That's why everybody forgets about Survivor Series, because it used to be part of the big 4 shows of their calendar year, but now that was just a nothing show.
Yeah, it became nothing because it's like they're not even sure what they're even doing with the show. And I hate the whole SmackDown versus Raw deal, because it's like it doesn't make sense to me. It's unnecessary. And plus you don't have a big roster for any dream matches. And I don't want to see dream matches take place in Survivor Series. I want to see it take place at WrestleMania and SummerSlam.
Right.
Like, I don't want to see no big dream matches at Survivor Series. And Survivor Series should have just kept it like how they've been doing it for so many years. 5-on-5 Survivor Series match, heel versus, face. Should have just kept it.
Or they used to have like the mix-up matches where they would have like one team that would be half heels, half face, and the other team would be half heels and half face, and kind of let that work itself out. Right. I mean, the last Survivor Series that I thought was remotely entertaining was the one where you had NXT mixed in there, the black and gold era of NXT, because they came in and they were like the big powerhouse of that whole storyline for that show, which they ended up winning the overall match count on that. But of course, now we know it all kind of was for nothing, since that the bulk of that roster is now gone.
Right. But now Triple H is back. So
yes. So
he's back. We'll see how that works out.
How that turns around.
It's time to play the game. But all right. Lineup. Here's the thing with the lineup. When you read this lineup, it's like you said earlier, not bad. There's a chance, there has been times where the card is pretty okay, but they delivered. The matches delivered on the show, on the day of the show. But then when you read this card and you're like, this was going to be the card. For all I know, they could have changed it, Knowing Vince, he probably did change the matches a lot. Exactly. But imagine you're going to the stadium and this is the lineup for that show. I'll be pretty pissed.
Exactly.
I'll be like, what is this crap? Like, what is this? And the fact that it's this Saturday, and the time of recording, the only 3 men or 4 men who are part in the Money in the Bank ladder match, Seth freaking Rollins, Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, Omos, and Sami Zayn. Who are the other 3? I can't even tell you who. I can't even take a wild guess. I thought it was going to be AJ Styles. I thought it was going to be The Miz. I thought it was going to be Ali. But no. I thought it was gonna be Edge too and Finn Balor, but then Edge is out, so now it's just like okay, you know. And then you got Ronda Rousey thinking that she's the Brock Lesnar. I mean, 5 years ago she was, but now she's not.
No,
You
and
know,
she's getting minimal reaction. Like
she's
Friday
not
night,
putting in the work.
I mean, some of the burns that she put in the promo were like, okay, it was clever. Like the whole thing about like I don't recognize you without your rack. I kind of taking a shot at Natty for like all the stuff that she's been doing with like her sister on the YouTube account and the OnlyFans account
Right.
and all that stuff. So I'm like, okay, that was somewhat, clever. And it's kind of cool that they're bringing some of that stuff in to kind of make it again more of an adultish storyline where it's not, just the kiddie stuff. So that part I was like, okay, that's a decent burn. But the rest of that promo segment was just hot garbage. I mean, the whole fight over with the stroller and how she tried to sell that weak ass throw of the
Right.
stroller into the corner. I was just like, it started okay, and then like by the end of that segment, I was just like, wow.
And didn't they had a dark match later that night too?
They did, and it was a decent match, but again, there was no crowd reaction to it. No one is really that invested in that story because,
And plus, they were
one,
probably thrown off because it was going to be it's a pay-per-view event, and then you're seeing
right,
it for free at a dark show.
we're seeing it for free. So that, and for me, like that whole storyline of what they've said about, who's tapped and who hasn't tapped. I'm like, well, I've already kind of seen some of that up close with my own eyes. So it kind of takes away some of that illusion of what to expect on the show on Saturday. But like I was saying, there's like Ronda can't really cut promos. So, like I said, she has her few moments here and there. Natty, though she's a great wrestler, has the personality of wet napkin. She just cannot do anything really convincingly on the mic that makes you invest yourself into the matches. So it's just like, okay, let's just get that match over with, out of the way, and move them away into a different program away from each other.
Right. I think it's the producers. It's the producers. They don't know what to do with them, and they're given a script and they just follow it. Because when I went to house shows, and I saw Natalia, I'm like, how come she doesn't wrestle like this every week on
Right.
television? Because when it comes to house shows, they have a little bit more freedom on what to do and whatever. I think the only thing is the finish and who's going over and their time. But everything else, it's like do whatever you want. So but yeah, when she was wrestling, I forgot who she was wrestling, but she was wrestling somebody, and it was great. It was a great match. I was like, it's been a while since I actually said for Natalia, like, oh, that's one of my favorite matches of hers.
Yeah.
I can't even recall the last time I said that for her. But yeah, I was just like, but now whoever she faced, I don't remember. I think Alicia. Is there a girl named Alicia there?
Aaliyah.
Aaliyah. Yeah, she
Yeah.
wrestled her at a house show, and I was just like, this is great. This is a great match. They didn't do much, but it was like, I'm like, how come I don't get this Natalia every week?
Right.
And it's the producers. They just suck. They don't know they don't know what they're doing. And then if they do know what they're doing, Vince doesn't like it. So he's like, no, scratch this. They're not doing this crap.
Right. And we've already known that for years, that what he does, tears up the script hours before the show, rewrites everything up until the last minute, trying to make it to what he wants it to be instead of just kind of letting it flow and kind of maybe be more of a natural feel of a show. That's why some of those segments, that we get on TV, we'll watch them and it just feels like they're just doing it by numbers. Like, okay, I'm supposed to do this part here, then I'm going to do this part over here, and then this part over here, and here you go.
Two people have said great things. Once you get your role, just shut your mouth and know your role. And then the other person is, this is crap. How can I turn this crap into something awesome? So the Rock said that, and then John Cena said the other thing. So It's like sometimes you gotta turn crap into something great, but if you're not putting in the work, it's like it's just gonna be crap in the end of the day. So it's either you could just give it your all, try to turn this crap into something, or just don't bother. Just like give your spot to somebody else, son.
And even then, like when I hear like on stuff like that gets said, because I've heard that too being said. It's and everything that we're talking about is that you have people in this company that could do roles and kind of help each other along. Like there could be things that you could pair up. So let's say you have a good, strong in-ring performer, but a bad promo. You have someone that's good on talking, but they don't pair them up. Like let's put the Hurt Business as an example.
Right.
We already knew Bobby can somewhat cut promos if he's fired up. We know Shelton, same. Cedric can't cut a
Shelton,
promo.
I mean, Shelton now, yes, I get
Now,
it. But back then, no, he was pretty good, especially with the gold standard gimmick. He just needed a gimmick. And then that's what it was, and he was able to roll with it.
But you had all three of them, and then you put MVP, who he's solid in the ring, he can still go, but his big thing is he can talk.
Oh,
the dude can just talk all day. So that was a recipe right there. You could put all four together. Like let's take someone like Ricochet, great in the ring, but he knows himself. He said himself he can't cut a promo to save his life. So get him a mouthpiece in there to do the talking for him while he goes in the ring and does his part.
Right.
Like seeing him in the ring against Gunther Friday, I was like, boom, I got hyped. Even though it was a short match, I'm like, all right, cool. Let me see some good stuff, and it was good in the ring. They both matched up pretty well for being a big size difference, but they can both know how to work each other's style. So they have the tools there to make things work. But for some reason, like you said, the production just drops the ball. They just know to do the wrong things.
It's so a while ago when we went to go see Sacrifice with me and my cousin Ever, we went to go see Sacrifice, right? And he's never been to a TNA Impact Wrestling show before until I took him with me to go see Bound for Glory and Sacrifice. And he was amazed because he watched it. And the production for TNA Wrestling, it sounds like the fans are not into the match. It's quiet. And then when he went to the live shows, everybody was going crazy.
Right.
And then when he watched it back on YouTube and all that, and I told him about it. I was like, when you go to a TNA wrestling show live, it's different compared to what you see on TV. So we went to Sacrifice. Everybody was screaming, "This is awesome. This is awesome. Match of the year." Everybody was chanting that, right? And then as soon as we go and we go back to the house and I should go on YouTube and show him the video, right? Because I had the Impact Insider and watched it. And he was just like, why is it so quiet? He's like, we were going crazy for that spot. And it doesn't you don't hear the fans that much. And it's the production of what they use because you hear the announcer more than you hear the fans.
Right.
Which makes it seem like people are not into the match, which is crazy. I don't know what equipment they're using and all that. And then the same thing, WWE started doing that too. Now you hear the fans chanting for Sasha Banks, CM Punk, and they lower the fans. So that way you hear more of the announcers than you do with the fans. And it's just it's the production because it's just why do you guys do that?
And that throws it off. And that'll throw off the overall product because let's say if you're watching it just casually at home, if you're just seeing the in-ring stuff and just the announcers, but you don't hear any feedback from the crowd, eventually you're just gonna be like, okay, I'm kind of over this already, and then change the channel. Or as you can say, we've seen these moments where even though we're watching it at home, we're not at the arena, but once you hear that crowd pop for whatever, someone coming back, like when the Hardys came back at WrestleMania, I was here at the house, and as soon as that popped up, I jumped out of my chair. I'm like, oh crap! I knew it was coming, but at the same time, hearing that crowd pop, made you be like, oh my god!
It makes you get that goosebumps too.
Yeah, like you can still.
And the same thing with Ali, because unfortunately with Ali, me personally, when he came back to Chicago in the Hell in a Cell, he had a big pop, right? When he came out, everybody was cheering, but as soon as that bell rang, quiet.
Yeah,
it was crickets. It was just quiet because it was just I'm like, this is why he's not getting that push, because you guys go silent. You guys got to keep making noises. That's why John Cena, he became a big star because of that noise. It was never quiet with him. It was either Cena, let's go Cena, or Cena sucks. But when Ali comes out in his hometown, Chicago, it's like, yeah, ding, ding, ding. Let's go, Ali. Let's go, Ali. And it's just like, come on, you guys can't be doing that. That's why he doesn't get that push. And then he goes somewhere else in a different state. Yay, Ali. And then same thing.
Yeah.
Nobody cheers because it's just like that's why people don't move up. But at least, but then it doesn't even matter because it's not just I'm not taking a shot at Ali because it's like same thing with Ricochet. When I went to that house show, the building blew up when Ricochet came out. Not a single, no, everybody was chanting for Ricochet throughout the whole match, but yet he's still in the mid card.
Right.
So it's like, I guess because of what you said earlier is because he can't cut a promo. So,
but like I said, you can just put somebody with him that there's people back there that know how to talk. You can put someone there with him. If anything, right now you have Eli Drake as Max Dupree, being a mouthpiece basically for he's gonna have his own.
Oh my god, him managing Ricochet? That was, oh my gosh. And Ricochet, he's a good looking dude. So he could pull off that gimmick.
Exactly. Whole character change for him. You can put him with him. Boom. You got the potential of making him into the upper tier main event status.
Right. Oh my gosh. And then Max Dupree, he was supposed to come on with some other guy. What's his name? Mace?
It's supposed to be Mace. That's what they've been trying out in the house shows, trying out as Mace as being the one of his clients.
Right. Oh my gosh. But Ricochet, that Ricochet and Max Dupree, that would be a good gimmick. I mean, good gimmick. They will work well together. Right. And Ricochet changing his gimmick to one of the models. Oh my gosh, that would be freaking awesome.
Be arrogant, be cocky.
Yeah.
And plus, hey, look, he's got a baddie for a girlfriend right there at ringside. You can make that as part of the story there too.
That's true. I would and then who else would I have him in that group? I'm trying to see who else. I mean, Austin Theory, but obviously he's doing his own thing. But
they're making him Cena Jr. right now.
Yeah, if it wasn't for that, then I would say obviously him. Bobby Lashley, but if Bobby Lashley was never WWE champion, I would say have him on there. But but Ricochet, that's definitely a good pick. But so another before we continue with Money in the Bank, I also have a special guest on this show. His name is Sean. Oh my gosh, I forgot his last name, but he goes by PWE, Pro Wrestling Enforcer. He is going to be on this show to promote. Oh my gosh, I am not prepared. Sorry, Sean. I'm very unprofessional. Anyways, give me 1 second. Is it All Star Wrestling? No, it's not. Is it All Star Wrestling? It's Only Star Wrestling. It's a new promotion. Showtime at the Steel Yard. So yeah, he's gonna go ahead. I'm gonna have them on this show, promoting the show, his wrestling show. And so let's go ahead and get into that, and then we'll come back to Money in the Bank. Let's go. Sean, you ready? You ready? Let's go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am here with my guest, Sean, PWE. What it do, baby? Hello, Sean.
What's up?
You there? How's it going, man?
Thanks for having me.
No
good,
problem.
Good. How about yourself? It's Saturday morning and just going on a drive somewhere. Gotta go places.
You're driving right now while recording.
Yeah.
Oh, all righty.
Well, video, so it's fine. I'm not looking at the phone.
Oh my gosh. Well, drive safe out there, man. It's raining out there. Hello, Sean. Sean. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, thought I lost you for a second. But anyways, man, you wanted to get on this show to make it a big announcement. So what's this announcement you got for us?
Well, yeah, I already made an announcement about a week ago for Only Stars Wrestling. It's a promotion that's going to be happening in the Chicagoland area, Northwest Indiana and Chicagoland area. So
So is it a new wrestling company or is it just like a one-time show?
No, it's a new wrestling company. So let's go back to how it started. Basically, Jesse Nunes, he's the promoter of Elite Fight Night, which is an MMA organization. And I've covered mixed martial arts on my other podcast, the Fight League Report. And so he's known me for a while. He's seen my interest and passion for pro wrestling. Idea came to him, why don't we host a pro wrestling show that will coincide with his MMA event? So we have one venue booked for 2 nights. It's an outdoor venue called the U.S. Steel Yard, which is home to the South Shore Gary Real Cats minor league baseball team. So it's a baseball field. It's beautiful out there. Obviously, it's summer. People want to be outdoors. So why not host a professional wrestling event the night before his next MMA show, which is Elite Fight Night, August 20th. So that's how Only Stars Wrestling came to be. We changed the name from when we originally had it. We've actually gone through a couple of different cards now. Dates have changed, but finally it's coinciding with his event on August 20th, August 19th. It will be, as everybody can tell from the poster, we've got a lot of big names coming, and obviously we want to live up to the hype. We want to deliver a big show, since we're outdoors in a baseball field and want to fill it to capacity, or as much as we possibly can. Why not, bring in some of the big name talents that people don't really get to see in the area that often? And Gary, for example, has no independent wrestling promotions currently running. I mean, the closest ones are probably, a few hours away. And, in terms of, making that attraction, having this feel like the biggest independent show possibly to draw these people, to draw professional wrestling fans from the Chicagoland area, from the Northwest Indiana area, and beyond. People are going to be coming from Indiana. I've already had messages and calls. People coming from, someone just told me they're coming from Fort Wayne, and they want to make the plan. Fort Wayne's a few hours away, so obviously we're going to be, we have a big market that we're going to reach. And the fact that we already have a built-in audience, for what we're doing, the MMA stuff, and hey, some of the fans might be interested in coming out and checking out pro wrestling event, and hopefully they'll have a chance to do so as well. So, and professional wrestling is so big, the industry is gotten bigger in Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana, to the fact that there's always going to be new promotions, and so Jesse thought, why not have Only Stars Pro Wrestling? He got together with me, and I've actually booked the card, booked the matches. We have an outside consultant who's helping us finalize things. We are changing a couple things before we announce the matches. And he's also going to, he's obviously someone that works in pro wrestling, so he'll be able to come up with the match, how the matches go, and the timing of the show and stuff that I'm not familiar with. And him having a wealth of knowledge in the industry with someone like him is amazing so far. I don't want to name his name because I don't know if he wants to be known, his role to be known in the company.
Right.
But he's actually performing on the show as well. So we're excited to have him on board. I'm great to work with a great veteran that's worked internationally, that's worked for all the major companies in the U.S. Literally has worked for every company, WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling, so having him is on board is definitely priceless. And getting to text and talk to him as a fan, every day about what we're doing. That's what I mean.
Right.
Because let me tell you, at the end of the day, I'm a fan just like everyone else. I'm a mark. I love pro wrestling. I go to shows. I cover shows, but I also still pay to go to wrestling shows too. So, and as a fan that is going to pay, I would look at this show and I would say, this is a show I want to be at. There's some wrestling names that we haven't seen in the Chicagoland area for a long time. There's also names that haven't been in the Chicagoland area before as well. So, and we're going to be excited to welcome them to Only Stars Wrestling, August 19th.
So at the time of recording, is there any matches have been announced yet?
So nothing's been announced as matches. We just this morning announced who will be a part of the show, who is official to appear, and we have those lists of names, which include Josh Alexander, Warhorse, Low Key, Dak Draper, Dante Leon. There's a couple more I might. Oh, Jake Christ and the Golden Gods, Atomico Jr. and Golden Dragon, who are notably from Cali Wrestling. So right there is that's just about half of our card. And so we're about to announce this, the official ones for the second half of our card soon. And depending on when this podcast comes out, I can reveal a match. Our first match. When are you releasing this?
This is probably going to be out by Tuesday.
Okay, perfect. So our first match that I can announce on your podcast.
All right, sounds good.
Yes, I can because what we're doing is we're releasing like 2 to 3 matches a week every Monday and Wednesday, and maybe and probably this Friday we'll announce one as well when tickets go on sale. That's the most important thing. July 1st, tickets go on sale. The link will be shortly up before the tickets go on sale on onlyfanswrestling.com. You can follow us on Facebook. We have a Twitter that we are creating, an Instagram, which will be soon to follow this week. So everything is launching on Monday. The tickets go on sale officially on Friday, July 1st. Get your tickets now. I did post in my last post, the ticket prices and information. There is a meet and greet, which will get you into the field 90 minutes before everyone else. We'll get you into the ballpark. You'll have the chance to meet every single wrestler on the card. Granted that they show up on time, and you'll get a poster to receive an autograph and one photo with each performer. So
that's pretty cool.
That's a great value when you look at how much it costs to meet wrestlers at other conventions like WrestleCon. You know what I mean? And
right.
Add up, the individual charges, and they'll be selling their merchandise as well. On top of that, you're going to be able to get I haven't announced this anywhere, but there's going to be a live Pro Wrestling Enforcer podcast happening with me and myself, the host of Pro Wrestling Enforcer podcast, Sean Lennon, interviewing a few of the wrestlers during the meeting. On top of that,
that's going to be pretty cool.
Yes. Let's say you're getting general admission for the show, but you're going to be in the lower deck area. Because you got the meet and greet, you can choose your seat before the general public enters in at 7 p.m. So you can be right by home plate, which is where the ring will be set up.
Nice.
Or wherever you want to go. So I'm sure that's going to be the most popular place. So if you want to be behind the dugout where the wrestlers enter. So everybody, wants to check out more of the venue. South Shore Real Cats, U.S. Steel Yard. You can Google it. It's a great venue. We've had the last Elite Fight Night there back in June, and I had posted pictures of it. And, on top of that, it's a night show. So we are having this amazing lighting structure. I don't know if you had gotten to see the photos I posted from the last MMA event we have. And that alone, that lighting structure will pretty much put us in the league of big outdoor wrestling events. I mean, we're gonna have a WrestleMania, as much as we can duplicate it, environment. You know what I mean? That's the whole point. And so we hope everyone joins us on August 19th, and I'd love to see everybody share our stuff on social media and be excited. We want to make sure there's a smile on everyone's face after the show, and keep them coming back for more. And the content of our show is interesting because we are going to be a little bit more edgier than it is a family friendly show, but we are going to be more of like the PG-13 kinds of content. So, getting back to the match I announced, right? I think I didn't give you.
You didn't. No, you didn't announce the match. Match yet.
So the first match, of course, for Only Stars Wrestling. And, cards are subject to change as always, but we have a street fight between a great veteran and Born to Die Jake Christ, former Impact Wrestling star, and he's also, the multiple great independent work. He knows what it's like to put on a big show. And this is going to be a gritty street fight with none other than Dante Leon. Dante Leon is going to take on Jake Chris in the street fight. I don't believe at this point they've faced each other before. I definitely know they haven't been in a street fight. For Dante Leon, being more of a high flyer, technical guy, it's going to be a different kind of match. But we've seen, guys rise to the occasion. So Dante Leon, if you're not familiar with him, he's big from Game Changer Wrestling, and he's done stuff, I believe, MLW. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he's also, he's been featured. He's getting featured more and more, and that's the thing with Only Stars Wrestling. You want to come out, experience our show live, but we have plans to be broadcasted on streaming networks, which is yet to be unveiled, right?
Oh, wow.
We're going to have a live pay-per-view, which is on Facebook live pay-per-view. We're also going to be on another major pay-per-view outlet platform. We just can't announce it yet, but we are going to be on this content is being recorded for TV, and you can expect some like backstage interview stuff when that comes out. And so we're going to have all that great content. It's going to be a busy night for us, but we just want everybody to come, sit back, enjoy a great night of wrestling. Bring your family, your friends, your grandfather, your grandmother, bring the babies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I said, we are family friendly, but it's not, like a PG show. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I get it.
It's gonna be
PG-13.
Right. It's going to be more what you see in AEW, but it's still a family friendly event. And, I can't wait. I mean, that's kind of all I have at this point. I mean, you have any other more questions, let me know. I just think it's going to, you see the names we have on the show, we have Josh Alexander, the current Impact Wrestling champion. We have PCO, who really doesn't do any shows in the Chicagoland area.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm surprised. I was gonna say that you have PCO. I don't recall ever seeing him in outside of like indie shows. Like I only seen him when he was in Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling, but I never really seen him on flyers for other indie shows. But I was gonna ask you, what match would you love to take place on this show?
Well, I mean, that we haven't booked yet.
Yeah, that you have. If it was up to you to book a match, what match would you book for this show?
Yeah, that's tough. I would say I would love to see Davey Richards come on our show.
Ooh.
And take on either Josh Alexander, or I'd like to see Davey Richards take on Calvin Tankman. I'd like to see either of those two, because Calvin Tankman is someone that we're hopefully can be officially added to our show.
Right.
We have a different process of where, just from getting like a verbal confirmation from an athlete, and I won't get too far into it, but it's just like, that's why, we can't announce them as being official. But yeah, I feel like Calvin Tankman against either of those two guys are great. I love to see Bandito, take on anyone on this card, especially when you got guys like Low Key and, probably Gringo Loco. And so like the list is endless. I also like to see women's matches too. And we don't have any officially, at this moment, we don't have any on our poster, but we are looking to add a women's match to our show. And Kylie Ray, sticks out for me. Donna Prazzo sticks out to me, Lady Frost, who's now just a free agent for Impact Wrestling, sticks out to me. I mean, I can go on and on about women's wrestling. I think most people know by now how much an advocate I am for women's wrestling, and how much I, support them. So, those are the top names for women. Sky Blue, obviously, everything she's been.
Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah,
no worries. I can go on and on about the women. So
yeah,
I want every major woman that's Ashley Box, the Sea Stars, and that's why we're gonna do more shows. So if we don't feature them this show, we'll have them on a future show where it's all about timing and scheduling, and that's what I've learned from this. Not everything works out the way you want it. Allison K is another one I personally enjoy having would love having on our shows. And like I said, Calvin Tankman, just having him against anyone on our roster. Calvin Tankman against Josh Alexander. They've fought each other before, but that's another match I'd love to see. And Davey Richards, having him in the future against any of those guys,
And then
We did-
Josh Wood is going to be on the show as well, right?
Right. Yes. Josh Woods on our show. I'd love to see Josh Woods and Tom Waller if we had the budget and everything worked.
I'd love to see Josh Woods versus Josh Alexander. That'd be a good dope match.
Exactly. And we have matches already, planned and stuff. We don't want to change things at this, that we don't want to change, but those are all great matches, that we could possibly have. And a lot of them are first time matches as well. And so I think that's what the beauty of independent wrestling is that you don't have to build a 90-day or 120-day storyline that these guys up. You know what I mean? You could just put them together, have them cut a promo ahead of time individually, and you know what I mean? Or you don't really need a story. That's what's the beauty of independent wrestling. That's how you get these
stories do help though.
I do. The right feud, the right match requires the right story, but I'm saying general overall, that's how you get all these first time matches is you don't have to build programs for them.
That's true. Yeah, for a first time show, you don't have to really have a story into it, but a story does help out though.
Yeah, yes, it does. And I mean, I when we look at other wrestlers, on the card, I'd love to see, Myron Reed get involved with any like Ringo Loco and Ninja Mac. I would love to see that happen. Braden Lee is going to be involved as well, who's another great veteran of independent wrestling and, a guy that's really, come into his own lately. So, having him in the mix would be great. I mean, there's so many matches like, that I can really tell you, that are going to be amazing, right? But there's so many more matches, like when you bring up that question that I would like to make that I didn't even think of at first, Yeah.
But what else I was gonna say? Any future title matches that's gonna happen in this on the show that you know of?
At this show, there won't be any titles. However, I think these matches will take implication. We already have championship belts, Jesse Nunez awards for Elite Fight Night, so a lot of the budget has got. I mean, I would at this point, he knows how to budget, titles, and obviously they do cost money to make and to have them display properly and everything like that, right? To have them properly, rather. That's what I'm saying. So I think there's more urgency for him to have that for his MMA events. But yeah, we're definitely looking to bring professional wrestling championships to our show. And, we were inviting also other promotions and other, companies to have their titles defended as well, if they want to do a partnership with us. If they're from another independent show and we can feature someone of their talent against someone of our talent, and then we put a title, the championship on the line. We've seen that before with other promotions. I think it just takes time, and we'll eventually get there. And there's no doubt in my mind.
No, that sounds great. I'm glad to have you on the show and promote this this wrestling company. Just hook me up with some free tickets, all right? I need
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this, man. If you do, we will have a media covering our event. So I'll keep you and Ernesto in mind.
Yeah, keep
guys in mind. Yes, for sure. Thank you.
Keep us in mind.
Yeah, we definitely want people that come out and do the work ahead of time to really help us get the word out there. I do podcasting, so I know all about that, and be my pleasure to have you as media, and hopefully we may be able to create some opportunities for you to interact with the wrestlers as well. So
yeah, man, that'd be really cool.
Yes, I'm hoping that everybody comes out and does the meet and greet, because it's a great value to meet all your wrestlers, to meet all your favorites. It's a great value just to be there, talking to other people online, talking to other people throughout. The vendors will be open, the concessions will be open, and it'll be fun. Yeah. And if you see me, say hi. I love to talk to all you guys who are going to be at the show. Don't be shy.
That's why I always tell people, don't be shy. But all right. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. So thanks, Sean, for coming on the show and promoting Only Star Wrestling Showtime at the Steel Yard, right?
Yes.
August 19th. And also check out Pro Wrestling Enforcer podcast. Sorry for botching that, man. Sean, thank you. I appreciate it for being on the show, man. And
No, anytime. Appreciate you.
if you need a referee, I got you, man. And then if you need a jobber, then you got Ever.
Yes.
So,
got you, brother.
You know, you need somebody to take a power driver, you can hit up
All
Ever.
Right. Yeah,
So,
we will. We'll see, man.
so Ever, Ever, and he hold on, Ever just texted me. He's just said that he'll take a table bump too. So look at that.
Nice.
He'll
I'll
take
keep that in mind. We'll see. We'll see how we're.
Yeah.
So the outside, he's gonna be in charge of all the spots and the finishes, and you know what I mean, all that.
I just got another message from Ever. He said that the table needs to be on fire for him to take it.
Oh,
wow. Oh my, wow, that guy's crazy. All right, well, there you go.
You're not even getting paid, and you're gonna take table spots.
Hey, and I got the text message. So
yeah.
All right, Sean. Thank you. I appreciate it for being on the show, man.
Take care.
Well, thank you, Sean, for being on our show and promoting Only Star Wrestling Showtime at the Steel Yard. Sounds like a lot of impressive people on this card. What do you think, Jose?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have Josh Alexander, you have Loki, was it a Bandido, Warhorse? You see a lot of big no names on that card, and it should make it for a fun show.
Yeah, Josh Alexander, Impact Wrestling World Champion, and we got Loki too. So, and then I see little Bow Wow. So, anyways, oh man, a lot to talk about, man. But a lot of. I know this Money in the Bank, and then also, hey man, what's your thoughts on Vince McMahon?
Man,
we're just gonna make this a news episode. Let's just make this a news episode. We got a lot to talk about.
That whole layout. I mean,
try to keep it
wasn't
PG.
surprising to hear what transpired, what happened as far as like him having an affair and trying to keep it hushed, because that's just been his thing for years. Right. You know, he said it in public interviews on Howard Stern, in Playboy magazine, where he's talked about being unfaithful, cheating on his wife, having all these affairs, and doing everything in between just because it's a power move. You know, powerful people do things like that, unfortunately. But the whole thing with John Laurinaitis, that one was a shocker. The fact that they were, basically passing the same woman off from one to the other and things like that. And now with the whole investigation going on, it's like, okay, is this going to be the thing that finally brings Vince down? Is this going to be the one thing that finally makes him step away? Because, the man's 76. So, does he have it enough to still fight this? And then just the fact what he's done publicly since then, just coming out on Raw, coming out on SmackDown, still getting a fucking pop for some reason. The crowd's still going off and singing No Chance. I mean, No Chance in Hell. And then for him to just say nothing, he just says, welcome to the show, or something about John Cena, and that's it. This dude is wild.
Yeah, I wish he would have caught a shoot saying, hey, I did not sleep with that woman. Matter of fact, I was up all night long. It's just the thing is the rumors true? I feel like it is, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It's just, why would he show up on his own show just to obviously to bring ratings, right? Obviously that's right. But are you trying to send a message saying I'm guilty, I'm not guilty, or I'm trying to, what's going on? Like, all eyes on me. What are you doing? That's what I want to know.
I think the message is him just basically saying, y'all can't touch me. I think that's just him. Like that, those appearances seem like a flex. Like he's just trying to say, you know what? You can't fuck with me. Right. This is not gonna phase me out. Now, the things about that behind the scenes too is like, now you have Stephanie coming into the CEO position when she had just basically stepped away not even a month ago, as she said that she would want to spend more time with her family. But more stuff that I've heard from behind the scenes is that she was kind of like put in a position to be forced out because some people were not having too much confidence in what she was doing as part of her job.
Right.
that it was basically slowly pushing her to the side. And I mean, everybody's kind of heard and made the jokes about like how Nick Khan has slowly been taking out every McMahon on the way to kind of maybe make himself be the actual person to take over if and when they decide to sell the company, or whatever future plans they're going to have, which a lot of people have been kind of speculating that all of these firings, all of these roster moves and all this stuff was just to kind of get away, take dead money off the books to basically be able to make the sale down the line to either NBC or Fox or Disney or whoever, one of the big mogul companies wants to buy them out. So this whole thing has just been an interesting thing to see unfold. And then plus there's been, talks for a while now, and supposedly some of it has been in pre-production about a couple of different biography shows about Vince. And there was supposedly a movie in the works about his life too, like a biopic.
Right.
So with all of this stuff happening, I'm just kind of curious, like how much, like you said earlier, how much of this stuff is going to actually be told truthfully, and how much of it is it going to be whitewashed, basically.
My thing is, I don't understand why people think Vince McMahon was always perfect, because it's like, I'm pretty sure you've seen the memes where people are like saying, oh, can you believe what Vince McMahon done? And it's like people who've been watching Vince McMahon since the 90s. It's like, yes, I get it. What's the issue again? What I don't understand the issue. So the issue is, Vince was seeing somebody in the office, right?
Right.
Now he paid her X amount of dollars. It was hush money.
Right.
Now, was this before or after they hook up?
So as far as I know, and from what I've heard and what I've read, is that it happened after basically their affair ended, where she wasn't feeling safe there, so she wanted to leave the company. So as part of like basically like a severance package, you want to call it, they basically said, okay, you're going to sign this NDA and you're going to not mention about this, and you're going to get this amount of money over the next couple of years. Mm-hmm. But now the thing about that is, what money was used? Was it out of Vince's own personal pocket, or did he use company funds? Because that's where we gets the whole.
So that part is, the rumor has it that Vince did use his own money, but the part that it was the company money was that he gave her a raise,
right,
which was $100,000 more, whatever her salary was. So, and it was just weird, because it was just like, that part is what makes it, whoa, that looks bad.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, was this before, after, during? You know what I mean? Like, what was the reason for it? Because if it was just like, hey, I'm just gonna give you a raise because of what you're doing, that looks bad. But now if it's like, hey, you're gonna do something else, obviously it's in a way, because it still looks bad. But if Vince was smart enough to be like, hey, so I'm gonna give you something else to do, because that way I could give you a raise so it doesn't look bad.
Right.
It's just like
suspicious.
Yeah, so it's like, even though it's still wrong, but it's like, I hope you did it that way.
Right.
Instead of just being like, I'm gonna give you a raise because you gave me one. So,
yeah.
That's where it looks wrong, man. But
and for a man his age to still be, to be able to get a rise like that, hey, kudos. Might as well use it while you still can.
Facts. No offense to Linda, she's a lovely lady, but she ain't no Trish Stratus.
Right.
So
exactly.
Hey, man, maybe she a freak. You don't know.
Hey,
she could be a freak.
Them conservative types, be conservative in the streets and freak in the sheets.
Yeah. Those I just don't like her in those suits, though. I mean, she those suits is what turns me off. She gotta wear a dress once in a while. So
that Linda, it's sundress season. Come on.
Yeah, sundress, man. We gotta see little cheeks. Linda, 2 cheeks. But oh man, John Cena, 20 years in the business, man. 20 years in the business. Even though he's been gone for 2 years, right? I mean, he came back from SummerSlam last year, but
SummerSlam last year, and then before that, it's like it was a year before that probably
Yeah.
when he.
Well, yeah, because that was during the pandemic. So he came back for WrestleMania 2020. What was it? 26, right? WrestleMania 26
or 36. You mean
30? Oh yeah, 36.
Yeah,
Whoa, I'm way off. Way
no,
off.
he was there with WrestleMania 26 for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But WrestleMania 36, yeah, that's when he came back for a little bit. And then that was the last match that we saw him. And then he came back at Money in the Bank last year to feud with Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. And then he's been gone since then.
Yeah.
And but there's a chance he's probably coming back to face Austin Theory at
And
SummerSlam.
that's what I've heard. That's what I've been hearing. That's what kind of it's been leaning towards. It kind of like that's how I was saying earlier with Austin Theory, how they're kind of grooming him to be the next Cena or Cena Jr. Mean the kid has the look.
Right.
He's got the punchable face, so he can be a good heel in that aspect. Like you just want to drop kick the shit out of his face.
Facts.
You know, he's arrogant, so he's got that part down. Now, the one thing that can definitely make him be a Cena-like level is if they can make him into a face, and can he pull that off? Because that was one of the things that Cena was able to do. He went from being just, you know, the prototype when he basically came in, coming in with just the shorts and starting off from there against Kurt Angle, to developing Dr. Thugonomics, and then go as a heel for a good run, which he was a good heel. I mean, he really did a good. He worked great with Eddie when they were wrestling for the U.S. title. You know, taking the tires off the lowrider, and then the match that they had where he actually did the FU onto the tire with the rim. You know, he did good heel work during that whole run, and then eventually the crowd made him face, and then he was just a face from here on out, and being the face too. So that's one thing where, like, Theory, that's going to be his testing grounds to see if and when they make him a face, how does he translate into a face? Can he be effective? Can he still draw the crowd in, and most importantly, draw the kids in? Because that was seen as big thing, was the fact that he appealed to the kids and was able to draw them in and make them buy all this gear, like Rocky said, like the Fruity Pebble shirts. He's got one in every color, and they all sell. You know, even to this day, what do you call it? At SmackDown on Friday, they had a whole in between, like, commercial breaks. You know, they have the fan cameras going around, so they had a whole little section where it was just, you know, who can do their best. You can't see me, and every kid that was on camera had John Cena gear, from the headband to the wristbands, shoulder bands, shirts, the whole thing. You know, it's still to this day, he still sells that kind of gear.
Yeah, I used to have a lot of John Cena shirts, but then I had to get rid of them because they didn't fit me. So yeah, but I had them all. I think the only one I didn't have was the orange one and the purple one. So, but I had them all. I had all the colors. I had every type. The orange one was difficult to find because I could never find it at Hot Topic. The purple, they had the purple one, but I was like, nah, I'm not feeling the purple one. The purple one, it was all right.
Well, the one I wanted to get is the one that was the NFT for a while, the one that had the Super Mario 3 like logo.
Oh, okay.
Where it was like Super Cena, but it was like him and, like, you know, drawn on it like in that Mario kind of logo. They made part of that NFT package, but that NFT flopped. So I don't know if they're actually gonna maybe put it out into circulation as a regular purchase.
Yeah, I like that shirt too. I kind of wanted that one, but I don't know why I didn't get it. So maybe it's because of the NFT I didn't want. I think I just wanted the shirt, but I couldn't get the shirt. It was like the whole package.
Oh, the whole package. You had to get the whole package as part of that. And I was like, I was not investing that kind of money for it.
So, what else is there to talk about? What else happened? But I was gonna say, do you really think Austin Theory is gonna be the next John Cena? I think he could be the next Randy Orton. John Cena, I don't think so. I think that's just too much. Because how many people have we said that's the next Austin, that's the next Hogan, that's the next this person, and they all failed.
Yeah.
They all failed. John Cena was the one person nobody said that he was the next somebody, and he became somebody.
Right.
So Roman Reigns, I guess the only person is Roman Reigns, but that's because, Vince's been pushing us down our throat.
They
But,
worked on him to get
yeah.
him to where he's at.
But they did the same thing with what's it called, with Hogan. Vince did the same thing with Hogan.
Right.
So it's like it's it's not like Hogan was like, oh, I became a big star. No, Vince push Hogan down everybody's throat. But the difference is people actually liked Hulk Hogan at
Right.
that time. So
At that time.
yeah, at that time, everybody loved Hulk Hogan. So it was like everybody was fine with it. But Austin, The Rock, and Cena are the only ones that actually became a big star on their own. Well, they had the opportunity, like but Hogan and Roman Reigns are the only two stars that Vince was like, here you go, this is your top guy.
Right. And Austin and Rock had the great fortune of being able to work off each other at the same time.
Right.
That both of their stock rose at the same time, and just being able to work against each other for those years and throughout multiple stages, because they worked against each other for the Intercontinental title. They worked against each other for the World Heavyweight Championship. Yeah. And even to some other stuff, even promos after they both left the company would come back every once in a while. Rock would go ahead and eat a stunner to make sure he does the oversell to get Austin a bigger pop. But that comparison that you made earlier, I actually did like that of Theory probably being more along Orton's path than Cena. Because if anything, I would say Riddle has more appeal with the crowd and with kids, that maybe he could be more like a Cena.
Yeah.
Or he could be the baby face and then have like how Cena and Orton played off each other, since they, worked so well against each other and they came up at the same time, with one always being the heel, one always being the face. That could be their next pairing like that, where you can have Riddle being a Cena-like face, and then Theory, who's again proven that he's a really good heel, be that Orton-like heel, where he can just get more of a mean streak, more vicious, more cerebral with things, have them eventually clash down. And, that could be, if they play it right, be a WrestleMania main event in 2, maybe 4 years.
Right. Yeah, like I actually agree with that, because at one point Vince McMahon when he saw RVD, he looked at him as his next big star, and he could have been.
Yeah.
But obviously RVD didn't. I don't know who made a bad call on that, but Vince did at one point saw RVD as his next big star.
Oh yeah, he had everything in there to do that. Yeah. But RVD, same, he kind of had at the time, he was kind of his own worst enemy, just because he had his vices that he just didn't want to give up.
He had a lot of what's it called? He was very RVD didn't like. I forgot what he said, but it was more like when it came to feuds, it was really hard for him to get mad because he was so mellow.
Right.
And it was just like, but Riddle, Riddle has that MMA background where it's like he could throw down.
Oh yeah,
so he could throw down.
If they wanted to, someone wanted to shoot on them, it'll turn into a real one real quick.
Yeah.
So, but I was gonna say earlier when you were talking about how you've had people who have been called the next something and flop. Ironically, because he just popped up in MLW, but Parker Bordeaux, how they were talking about him being the next baby Brock because of how he was built and how he looked. And he probably could have been Baby Brock, but instead they brought him in as Harlan, this silent type, I don't even know what his character was meant to be in NXT. And then they just ended up, not doing anything really with him.
He was the guy who teamed up with Joey Grave, right?
With Joe Gacy.
Joe Gacy. Okay.
Yeah.
Who the hell is Joey Grave? Okay, whatever. But Batista was one of them too.
Yeah.
Batista was the next big thing. He was because he was making way more money than John Cena at that time. But because of Batista kept getting hurt and missing WrestleMania. I think he missed how many WrestleManias? Like 2 WrestleManias that helped John Cena get up there. And that's how John Cena, because throughout the years, contract at that time, Batista was making more money than Cena. But on merch, on everything else, because Batista was getting hurt and missing out WrestleManias and stuff like that, and main event, WrestleMania pay-per-views and stuff, that John Cena basically took his spot, and that's how he ended up making more money throughout the
In the long
years.
run,
Yeah. And that's why and then when it was time for him to sign a new contract, he got more money because Batista was basically, Vince couldn't trust him no more.
Right.
Yeah, because he kept getting hurt and he couldn't put him in big WrestleMania matches. And Batista, WrestleMania 26, Batista wasn't even supposed to be in the main event picture because Vince didn't trust him because he kept getting hurt. But it didn't mean Batista wasn't making less money. It was just he wasn't getting more money because Batista couldn't back it up. John Cena was able to.
Yeah.
But the only reason why Batista was in the main event that year because he was leaving. He wanted to go and do Hollywood. But Vince was like no. He put him in the main event picture with John Cena so he can make that WrestleMania money to ensure he would stay. So that's why we had all those John Cena and Batista matches back to back, so he could get that main event money, and on top of the WWE picture money, and then he ended up leaving. So that's why he was able, because he made so much money within those 3 pay-per-views that's why it took him a while for him to come back.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see what the plan for Vince was, to try to entice him with those payouts to get him to stay, but it just worked the other way around, where Batista's like, well, I got cushion money now. So I can bounce and go try this movie thing and see how it pans out for me.
And it took a while. I mean, he, obviously he said he came back because he was going broke, but it did take him a while, though. It took almost 4 years for him to come back, and he did make some good movies, but I'm pretty sure the thing is, obviously Batista, I guess it took him a while to understand. It's like you can't compare Hollywood money to WWE money,
right?
So it's because you get paid. I don't know how the Hollywood, I mean, everybody production is different, because I heard different stories. I heard one story where it's like you get paid up front, and there's some people that get paid after the movie, like once it's in theaters and stuff like that. Right. That's where you get your check.
They get the residuals, the back end pay.
So it's like it works differently. So maybe Batista didn't understand that going into the movies, where it's like he probably thought like, oh, I'm gonna get a check this week. And it's like, oh no.
No, and not because I got a buddy who was in the military with me. He was Marines when I was Navy at Pendleton, and he's been doing both things, working in movie projects and wrestling as well. Danny Limelight. He's been popping up pretty big. He's in MLW. He's done some work in AEW and some other promotions. But if anything I could see from what his journey has been, is like there's the hustle. It's a constant hustle. You're either working on a project, trying to get money off of that, or working on a booking and getting into a show and working off of that. It's not just a guaranteed thing that, okay, I'm in the movies, or you sign for like the Screen Actors Guild or whatever it may be, and that you're so making money in movies, it's not as easy as he probably would have thought it was going to be, because like I was saying with my buddy, he's done movie projects and he's constantly working on projects, developing scripts, getting bookings, getting onto shows, even if it's a small bit or a major role, to keep that money flow coming in. At the same time, taking bookings as a wrestler with different promotions and working those shows in between. Right. So probably at the time he might have thought, I made all this money over here, I got this cushion. But when you have those kind of situations, if you're not living within your means, that money goes away quick.
Right. I'm pretty sure his mortgage payments were like $5,000 a month, where it's
exactly,
and that adds up. And then his car collection, food,
home gym,
and all that stuff. I'm pretty sure it adds up. So he was probably spending money more than he was making, because he probably thought he was going to get it back eventually, but probably didn't work out that way. But it worked out for him now. So
yeah.
But talking about the top faces of wrestling, it's like I honestly think Cody Rhodes is going to be the guy too. Cody Rhodes. I could see Drew McIntyre, but I don't know why they're not pushing Drew McIntyre. But it's like everything he did in 2020. It's like you would think he would be the top face right now, but he's not.
Right. And I think maybe because they might have overdone it with him that people have kind of like burned out. So maybe they're kind of drawing him back a little bit. And then maybe for like the fall, make him be the guy to make the run at Roman, at least until Rumble time, when hopefully by then Cody does come back, which again, it would make it either perfect for him to come back in time for the Rumble or the Elimination Chamber, to get into one of those matches and win one of those matches, so that way he can set up the match for WrestleMania for one of the titles. And that's if they still keep them together by that time, or if they decide to do some kind of split, because there's, rumors as to who might win the Money in the Bank and how that might set up for a potential match for at least one or both of the titles. So that's still left to, kind of play out.
It's just, to me, the thing is, I told you last time, I wouldn't want Cody Rhodes to main event WrestleMania 39 and win the title. I kind of want to wait to WrestleMania 40 for him to win it. But because he's out due to his injury and the fact that he was still perform for us at Hell in a Cell, it's like, yeah, now I kind of want him to win the Rumble, go on and headline WrestleMania, and win the title. And there's a chance that it's either going to be Seth Rollins winning the title, and we may see that match happen at WrestleMania, which I'm fine with it.
Right.
Because people are saying if the Roman Reigns versus The Rock does happen, there's no need for the title. There's no need for it.
That's a money match without it.
Yeah. So it's like you could, you don't need the title for that one. And if it does happen, great. If it doesn't, it's like I really don't care. But Roman Reigns needs to be back on the road. Like, he needs to be on television. I don't know why they thought, hey, we're gonna put the title on him and he's not gonna be on television that much. I don't understand why he has to go part-time now, when it's like you have 3 big shows coming up: Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, and then the one in the UK. So it's like, what, this is right now, it's not the good. And then plus it's summer. This is the time where a lot of people are gonna go to wrestling events, and you're gonna go part-time now. You're gonna go on vacation now when it's summer. It's a bad time to go on vacation. I mean, as a wrestler, go on vacation in the wintertime where people will stay in and all that stuff.
Right.
It's just like bad timing on that part. They didn't really thought this through, where it's like, hey, we have because at the time before he went part-time, Money in the Bank was still in there, and was still going to be in the arena, stadium.
Right.
So just like, you guys didn't really thought this through, right? You do know he's your world champion, and it's like, why did you merge both titles? Give one title to somebody else then. I think Roman Reigns should drop the Universal title, and he should start a new legacy with the WWE title, and then have the Universal. Because him holding on to the Universal title doesn't mean anything. I don't even care for the title anyways. Nobody does.
No.
So, like, you're better off just merging it to one title, and I have no problem of the WWE Universal Championship. It's just the legacy of that title. It doesn't mean anything to me.
Because out of all the people who held that title in its run, Roman is probably just the biggest and the most significant one, honestly, because Finn being the first one,
right? And
he got injured. Then Kevin Owens, who that was probably his biggest run, other than main eventing against Austin at WrestleMania. But that was it wasn't like a spectacular run.
Even Kevin Owens would say that's not the title I wanted.
Right.
He could say he's a world champion, but that's not the title that he wants. That's not the title that he grew up wanting to win. It's the WWE Championship. So it's like, that's what people want to win. People want to be able, because the Universal title, think about it. People who look up to John Cena, what title are they going to want? they're gonna want the WWE Championship and the US title. Why? Because
Right.
John Cena hold it. John Cena never hold the Universal title. Who's gonna want that title? Nobody. So
And funny you say that right there, the Universal title, I mean the US title, because at the show on Friday, that was one of the belts that they had on sale at the merch booth. It was the Spinner US title.
exactly.
They had that belt on sale still, and it was being sold because I saw a lot of people buy that belt then and there. I was like, okay, I mean, again, that's just proving what the stock and value in John Cena still is to this day.
Right. And they thought having Goldberg holding the Universal title was going to draw attention to it. And it's like, it did for a bit, but it's like, no, not a lot of people are going to say 10 to 15 years from now, or, you know, maybe current wrestlers, people who are training now, none of them are going to say, yeah, I want the Universal Championship because of Goldberg.
Right.
No, people are going to say, I won the WWE Championship because of John Cena. I won the US title because of John Cena. Yeah, I won tag team just because of John Cena.
Right.
I want to win the Royal Rumble because of John Cena. I want to win Money in the Bank because of John Cena. I want to headline WrestleMania just like John Cena did. You know, I want to be able to face John Cena. Even Austin Theory, he's 24 years old. His dream match is John Cena.
And that's probably about to happen by SummerSlam.
So it's, if it doesn't have John Cena's name on it, get rid of it.
Right.
Actually, don't get rid of the IC title. but you know, but still, John Cena was never IC champion. That's crazy to me.
No, you're right. That's one belt he never held.
That's crazy to me. I never really. But
I mean, right now the IC title's in good hands, so I wouldn't want to see him coming in and do like a power move just to get that title.
I mean, to face Walter, why not? I mean, I know he'll squash him, but
he'll squash him. That's why I don't want to see him. Right now, Walter low key is being built up. His stock is slowly rising. They're doing him right now.
Right.
Keeping him strong, putting a belt on him that has some meaning to it, maybe bringing some meaning back to that belt and to that title, to where they can elevate him to where maybe he could be a contender for the main title. Or if they split up the titles again for one of them, you know, whatever they do to split up. Because even going back to earlier to the lineage on the title, that's what makes the story with Cody be more important, because whenever he wins it, he wants to win the WWE Championship, because that's the story behind it. It's the belt that was taken from Dusty.
Right.
So there's that story there. So same, like, let's say they do split him up and you put the Universal title on Walter, that's a big thing for him, but it's not a big loss for like anyone else that's trying to get the WWE Championship, because now Walter got elevated to a different level. He has one of the big two titles, and you can build him up even more and make him something, because I mean, he's put in the work in himself too, to get to looking to how he looks from how he was looking in NXT UK when he was the NXT UK champion.
I just hope Walter, he does have a long title reign. I just hope it's not one of those like Dean Ambrose where he only had like 2 or 3 title defense. I want like him having feuds, even if it's just like a number 1 contender. It's like there's no story. Walter's one of those guys where it's like you don't need a story with him. It's just he has the title and you want to take it away from him.
And he has the style, he has this look that just makes him look like a menace. And
he got in great shape.
Dude.
Great shape, man. I was like, damn, Walter.
Yep.
Oh no, his name is Gunter now, right? Gunter. So, but all right, well, we're gonna wrap this episode out because it's been a pretty long episode. That's what she said.
Hey.
So, but all right, Jose, thank you, and hey,
thank you again, brother.
I'm gonna have you on later this week for Money in the Bank, man. Even though we talked a little bit about it, but it's gonna be for trivia, because we were gonna do trivia for this episode, but we ran out of time, so we'll do another episode. So, all right, Jose, until next time.
See you then.
We are out. Doo-doo-doo. Yay!